Andrew Thacker, we'll start with one from Rod.
Andrew, you had some new faces sort of made a name for themselves in the spring. Harrison's, Andrews, Hayes, those type of players. Did they continue that progress through the summer?
Yeah, and I'll be specific to your question. So Ace Eley, when we have an opportunity to go out there with the first group that we throw out there, he is establishing a leadership in the defense, playing the Mike linebacker position, playing at a high level. We talked about this in the spring, but he gives us a physical presence, a physical dominance, literally size out there, and then just very pleased with where he's at mentally. The Mike linebacker's at a position where it requires that. It requires that communication, that confidence, that leadership piece. And then obviously it turns out that he's just a very good football player. You talked about Kevin Harris. Kevin Harris was one of our top lifters in the off season, just in terms of his effort every single day. We literally hold metrics. I know Coach Collins talks about the catapult a lot, but on the Tuesdays, Thursday runs with Coach Lou Corrala, the catapult runs, he was at the top end for the entire summer. So we really rewarded him going into the fall season with some reps early with the groups, and his dominant traits, his explosiveness, his twitchiness, his playmaking ability showing up, and we got to get him cleaned up on some assignments so he can continue to play fast even through assignment. And then you mentioned Trinilius Tatum, a young true freshman that came in January as an early enrollee. I think anytime you do that, you come from high school, what should be the spring part of your senior year of high school, then you come in and it's a little bit of an eye-opener and overwhelming. But he just couldn't help but flash because he's just a talented young man. So now he's starting to see the advantage of what he did. He came in January, he made it through spring practice, he made it through summer, and then some of his teammates in his signing class didn't have the opportunity to get here until the summer. So just the advantage he had, the maturity he had, understanding the expectations, the standards, the cultures. Now he's really seeing the benefit of that. Because he was really able to accelerate in the summer, and now he's gone through a spring ball. He's heard the install. He knows words to the defense, so now he's able to get some reps as a C and as a B, and work his way up towards the top end of the defensive roster. And I do see him having a role for us this season, even in what he is being a true freshman. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously we can't talk about injuries, but his availability, Coach Collins will keep you guys updated on that. But really excited about him. Even in the short amount of time that he's been here, he already had a physical dominance to him, and then he's even changed his body in the short amount of time that he's here. So as far as our 4-2-5 structure, we see him as that filled in. Some of those other body types are Jared Ivey and Antonius Clayton, Noah Collins. We've got Josh Robinson out there. Did I miss anybody? Oh, Sylvain Union out there. So he would be more in that role of the filled in. And then once we get to our sub packages, he's got plenty of pass rush ability. Don't really see him kicking inside right now, Kelly. So he would be more of that defensive end, filled in, 5 technique type guy. Big physical presence, strong and heavy handed, and not to the detriment of him being an elite pass rusher. So to be honest, yeah, we're going off of film that he had 2 years ago, and then what little he's been able to do since he's been here, until Coach Collins can fill us in on availability for him.
Does it give you an opportunity to go against some bigger packages at times? You have more of those bigger defensive end types?
I think just the overall depth of the defensive line allows us to be so much more multiple, Kelly. Yeah, I mean, we just from where we started to where we are now, we really are pleased with roster management, and we've established a lot of things here, but if we want to be really good coaches and have opportunities to win games, we're a lot closer than where we are with having depth to the roster. So yes, absolutely. As much as we don't want to be responses to offenses, if offenses give us heavier personnel packages, more tight ends, more fullbacks, bigger guys, goal line, short yardage, we've got much more of a pool to be able to pull from. And then just that being said, it's not just about how many linemen or how many linebackers or how many your scheme or your structure. We've got guys that fit into positions with our base defense, but just we can use them and their skill sets. So we can be more NFL style, and this is what they do well, right? Kyle Canard is different than Jared Ivey. They're both young guys that have a very bright future and promising future if they continue to stay the course. But Jared Ivey is has blown up to 6'6", 275 and occupies a lot of space and has great heavy hands and plays a great surf technique and can play a B to C gap. And Kyle Canard is, muscled up to a 240-pound, but he's still an off-the-edge, twitchy, explosive, bendy, rush-type dude. So they're both in the defensive end room with Marco Coleman, but we're not just being stubborn about us holding to the base of the defense and trying to use those guys to be in multiple packages. To be long-winded with your answer. With your question.
Okay. Yeah, you got guys back like Eley and DK. How do you see them?
So that's two guys that I'm so happy to have. So specifically to TK. To be honest with you, that was a big blow for us. We thought TK was going to be, have many opportunity to go out with the A group when we started games last season. Then he had the injury going into to fall camp. So it was a long course for him. Those Achilles injuries. So even now we're making sure that we manage his reps and put him in a position to where he can regain strength right now. But when we go to team run, team force, that's generally the first period of the day that we go full team. Coach Key generally scripts 5 plays. 4 of those 5 plays are runs, and the defense is responsive to those. We don't do any exotic blitzes. We just sit in a 4-2-5 base defense, and it allows those offensive defensive linemen just to play football. So for us, it is get your hands on your visual key, collapse gaps, hold gaps, and TK is as good as anybody as we have in there. So it gives us that dominant presence inside to be able to build a wall. When him and Jaiman and some of the other guys, Jaquan Griffin's playing at a high level, when those guys are in there, we're holding our point. We're holding the line of scrimmage to resetting the line of scrimmage, which is our goal on defense for now the second level guys to continue to make plays. So really, really, really pleased with TK. He also brings the edge and a level of maturity to the room. And then you asked about Sylvain Union. So it was, I believe it was game 3, but as he was going out and he had his injury that past season, he actually had his best game. Early in that game, he had we had a movement pattern on to where he went from the C to B gap, and he was able to take a step, get vertical right there, and get a TFL. But his arc of being here was, I am a Belgian dude that doesn't really know football. I'm figuring out what an A to B to C gap is. I kind of get here, I'm overwhelmed, I'm trying to catch up with everything. Now I'm living this U.S. lifestyle, and I'm trying to catch up. And then we got him to the second season, and things started to slow down for him. And then he could just use what his skill set is. His skill set is he's just insanely powerful. He's got a great body type. He's got an ACC body type. He's insanely powerful. But he was really starting to understand the game and having an awareness to it, and was playing his best football. So I just say that to say I think he was going to make so much more growth from that 1/4 of the season working through. Now we've got him back, and I think he's picked up where he's left off. It's almost been close to a year since he's played, a little less, but he's back, and he plays with so much more football intelligence and football awareness. So again, we can get back to using his skill set. So he brings a ton of depth, and the primary part is he's playing that field in for us.
Michael?
I'll take one of those. Thank you. You're good?
Yeah, we're in a obviously year of offensive football. So many explosive players. You see even defense that are considered elite. You got some solid people. In those circumstances, how do you measure success? 1 and 2, how do you keep your guys up when everybody is starting to stop?
Yeah. Ultimately, we have to look through a team lens. Our goal is to win. Although every single day, how do we become a better version of ourselves on defense? We call ourselves the dark side, trying to rebrand, trying to evoke images there. So how do we become the best version of ourselves? How do we become the best version of our position groups? And then how do we become the best version of the dark side? That's our goal. But that being said, to answer your question, we look through a team lens. Our ultimate goal for every single Saturday is to win a game. So if our offense has more points, then we've done our job as a team. So to answer your question, that being said, we're really, really trying to educate our defense and take the philosophy of not being responsive to offenses. So we try to reset their mindset, and then we want to attack them. We're going to give them multiplicity in what we do. All right, that sounds cool. Yeah, I got you. That sounds good in a press conference. How are we giving them multiplicity? Through different defensive structures, and I'm not going to go any further than that right there. And then through just a mindset of how we play. We're going to attack them. We're not going to sit and be responsive. We're not going to sit and hold and collapse gaps like I was talking about TK the whole game. We are going to pattern and move to be able to do that. We're going to have multiplicity in coverage. and we're just going to attack the football. That's what we preach more than anything. One of our, what's the word? What's the lack of modesty? Immodest? Non-modest? Immodest, is that the word? One of our immodest goals is to lead the country in takeaways, and we talk in those terms every single day. To do that, it sounds cool when we say that, but we have to train behaviors every single day. So we train, reinforce, and incentivize us attacking the football. It was a small little deal, but today, the very first part of a team period, Charlie Thomas dropped to a little weak hook. They caught a little 4-yard check down. It was a nice play by the offense, but as soon as he caught it, Charlie punched down on the football. Even though we didn't get a takeaway, we attacked the football and disrupted the offense in that way. Obviously, the ultimate goal is to strip and rip and club and get forced fumbles, and then interceptions always take care of themselves. But again, we have the immodest goal to have an attack mentality, attack the football, and lead the country in takeaways, as opposed to being responsive and worrying about everything that our offense gives us. If that's the case, we'll drive ourselves crazy, especially with the talent that we're going to face this season going against offenses.
Rod?
As the development and the added size of the offensive line help your defensive line, their progression, and specifically, because you're about the quickest first step of any of your defensive tackles.
Yeah, so I'll answer question B first. Yes, Jaquan Griffin has the quickest step of any defensive lineman. That's one of his dominant traits. Obviously, he's got, like we all do, he has strengths and weaknesses, and he knows he needs to work on being able to hold points better when he's playing a 3 technique or playing a G, but he has as quick of a step. And then he has as quick of a playing the run to getting a read off of a lineman, and you transition to pass rush. He is our best transition to pass rush guy in there on the interior. I think Coach Knight would stamp that as well. Now, the first question you asked was just talking about how good of a job Coach Key's done with the offensive line, how that helps us in the competition piece of practice for the defensive line. I wish we could go to day 2 fall camp and watch team run, team force that I mentioned earlier. So that was the first team period where 4 out of 5 plays were runs. I wish we could just watch that brand and that efficiency and execution of football on both sides of the ball versus maybe the second day of spring practice we were here, when we were trying to install everything, when we were trying to figure out, So it was something that we were really proud of as coaches, that if we can continue to do that every single day and have marginal gains, we got a chance to be really good on both sides of the football. So those offensive and defensive lines, as they've really increased talent pools and increased depth in their rooms, the competition piece is certainly iron sharpening iron theory right now and making each other better. So it's really cool to see that.
Got time for a couple more, Kelly and Ken.
I was curious about Spiderson. It seems like he's really kind of taking a step up into that we can free the play trade and get them out a little more.
Yeah. So we feel like we have I don't want to give a certain number, but we've got a kind of a combination of, as a 4-2-5 base defense, there's 5 essential DBs that start in that package. We feel like we've got 6 to 7 to 8 starters that we could create that have multiplicity, and it's not just corner, nickel, safety. So Trey, you mentioned Trey being able to have some flexibility. He's been playing some nickel plays for some corner for us and giving us some flexibility. Derek Allen's been playing some multiple spots like he did this past season to figure out really what's the best combination. And we know that they're all going to play at some point in the game, but what's our best combinations to be able to work together? And then I want to make sure that I say this the right way, but you mentioned Spider Sims. I'm going to look in the camera because there's a camera right there. I am very pleased with Spider Sims and the way that he's handling himself as a man, as a young man. He's a young man becoming a man right now through his maturity. And the arc of his maturity is a big one right now within this program. He came in with a lot of celebration in the recruiting scene and a very highly recruited young man coming out of high school. And we did gain him as a transfer. Those are always risks when you do that. Why are they transferring? And you always take those risks. We felt like we trusted him and his family, and then what he had done before and what type of young man he was at Westlake. And then he came here, and there was a little bit of a culture shock. I'll say that for Spider. And then he's just kind of rebranded himself as a young man and have a level of maturity that's allowing him to get out there and just execute and play football. So the growth and development he's made from last season to spring practice to right now is really big, and he's playing a dependable brand of football with still a lot of margin of improvement. So really pleased with him.
Kind of a two-part question. You were talking about one in the league and takeaways, and defense, you know, if you play, we're just going to give a big play, doesn't mean you're going to give up a lot of short plays.
Yeah.
People are going to take them off. I would think that if you're going to play a more aggressive style, you're trying to get strips, but it's also going to have the next spot of maybe they're going to hit the big plays on this. I'm curious, like, how is that kind of, how I can see that also the other part is, like, I imagine you still you're doing that in part because you feel like you have the personnel that can, you know, play man or you know, get in running lane and strip ball. Is that?
Yeah, so I don't want you to look through the lens that creating takeaways has to require us to be attacking in scheme, that it has to make it more pressure, more patterns. Those aren't mutually exclusive. Irregardless of the defense, we can still create an attack mentality and attack football. Whenever the situations come up, your training behaviors when they come up, when are those? Those are obviously when I have a vision coverage and I can go up and attack interceptions. Right? Those are very common ones. But more importantly, we're teaching forced fumbles. So forced fumbles come up. The dude that has the worst ball security on the field is a quarterback. So anytime the quarterback has the football off of a pass or off of a retrace, off of a scramble, we're going to attack the football in the way that we tackle him. The other most common ones are when two people come in at the same entry. Wherever the ball carrier has it, or I'm a tackler and the ball carrier has it in the near arm, we're attacking the football when it's in the near arm. So it's those type of behaviors that they're training, more so than me just being a meat-headed defensive coordinator and saying, well, I'm going to blitz more and we're going to create more takeaways. That's not true. So I don't want you to think in terms of that being mutually exhaustive. So we're just training the behavior of attacking the football and the scenarios that come up in a football game. So perimeter plays do that a lot. When I say perimeter plays, bubbles and perimeter screens and stretch plays and horizontal plays where there's some bad ball security and you can come in from angles to be able to do that. And then downhill run plays when it gets inside the framework of the box. At some point you come from an angle to where the ball carrier has it in the near hand. Just to be very clear, the primary tackler is not attacking the football. The primary tackling's number one job is to get the dude down to the ground with as much force and power as possible. But our strength in numbers to the defense, as we come in, we attack the football in those ways. So again, it's not just saying it and saying it, saying it, saying it. Every single day as we meet at night for the dark side, it is, we watch every single opportunity to get football disruption, be it an interception, be it a club, a punch through, be it a punch out of the near hand, be it a quarterback retrace. We watch when we do that. And in a 60 plays of gradable team plays, we're getting upwards of 16 to 20 plays where we're disrupting and attacking the football. Now, 33% of those practice plays, you're putting it to chance. And then what's a realistic goal? A realistic goal is to get 3 takeaways a game. You know what I mean? So if 33% of the plays you're getting opportunities to punch the ball out in practice, then if I face 75 to 80 to whatever plays in a game, then I'm getting close to that 3 or 4. Now you're getting close to getting 36 takeaways in a season, and you're top 10 in the country right there. And I know I threw a lot of metrics and math at you, but that's just kind of a lens to look through.
Okay, one more quick one, Mike.
This is your first year of 3 since you're basically a grad assistant.
Say that again.
This is your first year of 3 since your name was a grad assistant.
First year 3 being at the same place. Wow. Is that a statement, a question? Is that a compliment, or is that an insult?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Your business has.
Yeah.
But is it benefits to being in a place this long?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Stability in so many phases of life, so being a Georgia boy, I love being here. I'm really passionate about staying here with my family and being able to, probably not the answer you're looking for, but on Thursday, my daughter went into first grade, and when she went into first grade, her 2 best friends are Harper and Jack were in her kindergarten class, and now they were in her first grade class. So the stability in life in a place that I love living at, where I'm from. I love being here at Georgia Tech, being here in Georgia, being in Atlanta. But more so than anything, we've had a lot of stability in staff, and that's a huge compliment to Coach Collins. We've gone through quite a bit of adversity, men, as you guys are well aware, in the first 2 years. And we also, even though we take the approach of what's important now and looking through a singular lens of every single day of being the best version of ourselves, there's been a lot of buildup in our heads long term about going into year 3. And it doesn't promise anything, but we felt like with the growth that we've made going into year 3 into this program is special. And again, it doesn't guarantee wins or losses, but we feel like we can play a really good brand of football this year and have an opportunity to get ourselves in good position. So Coach Collins has, through some tough times, he has shown a lot of loyalty and a lot of faith in a staff to to execute his vision to get to a point right here to where we can play a really good brand of football. So continuity in staff, and then continuity with a lot of guys. Although we've had attrition in rosters, and that's very common, we've also got a lot of continuity in the roster for guys that have been here through some tough times and are looking to get on the other end of it, that know systems, that know schemes, that know culture, but the leadership's at a different level. The continuity of staff, continuity of team is at a different level. And Coach talks about energy and juice and all that, and a lot of those are in place, but there's just a different walk, there's a different talk, there's a different air of confidence in our guys right now, and it's not arrogance, it's an air of confidence, not hubris, it's an air of confidence, and really excited about how that's going to translate into football.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started right away with questions for Demetrius Knight. So, Kelly, you want to start us off?
So, back when you started this out, kind of how does it feel to be back on defense? And I know you just kind of want to get on the field for a little bit.
Feels pretty good to be back on defense. I won't lie. Offense was I would say offense was a good experience too, because it kind of gives me more insight when I try to relate things to defense, so I know what to look for when quarterback see this, or I know how to disguise things better so they think a different way and try to manipulate them into my favor, really. So I think that'll help in the long run. So it feels pretty good.
Rod?
Coach Collins mentioned that where you are now is probably the easiest road for you to get to the NFL and find the special teams, that type of thing. Is that something that you buy into?
Oh, yes, sir. Of course, I tried to go back to the quarterback train and thought that was the path, but inevitably during the summer, had a nice talk with Coach Collins and Coach Thacker and realized that if I'm going to get there, it's going to be special teams, of course, with the first priority, and definitely playing linebacker will be that big piece helping me get there as well. So coming into camp, coming back in the summer, I was definitely bought in, moving back to that linebacker room, had no problem getting right back to work.
Okay.
Is safety at all an option for you? Or do you feel like linebackers are
Safety is an option too. They're just kind of making sure I get molded back into the linebacker room for right now, but there are still different things they'll have for me, I'm sure. But first things first, I'll just take the first few steps at linebacker, just getting back to it with those guys.
Rod?
Did you have to change your body at all at weight or any of those things?
I did just a little bit. At quarterback, I was trying to stay around 215, so I just put on 220, 222, so I'm trying to stay around there just so I don't get blown off the ball by a 300-pound lineman being a little too light. So put on a little muscle will help in the long run. So, yeah.
Rod?
Where do you think the defense is now as opposed to when you were playing linebacker?
I would say the defense has improved tremendously. I can say that because being on the quarterback side of the ball, it was hard to see where blitzes were coming from, where coverages were going, because they're doing a great job disguising and sending blitzes here. As a quarterback, you try to set checks here, and then you got another blitz coming this way. You're like, how'd that guy come free to get me? They looked good, so it felt pretty good to get back on that side of the ball to join what that defense has become.
Is there a particular skill or thing that Coach Thacker tells you that you can get better at this and get more playing time on certain things?
Really, he just stresses to me to make sure that I play with my hands, because I have the ability to be fast and get the ball, and I can track the ball and chase things down. It's just making sure I use my hands when I get there so I can avoid blocks and avoid getting held and things like that in the game. So I'll be better off in the long run. So when it does come time, I can use that throughout my career in college and at the next level as well.
In terms of just kind of learning the defense, how quickly did you pick back up? What do you need to work on?
I definitely picked it up right away once got right back in the playbook, just to make sure I was good on a couple things. Of course, I ask my questions and write down things here and there in meetings, so just so I can make sure I'm crystal clear on things. The only other few things that I have to work on is probably getting the new signals, so I can make sure I don't call something else on the field and have everyone look crazy when I call something. But it's been an easy transition moving back to linebacker and getting all the calls right. So just making sure repetition to make sure I get everybody right and get myself right on the field. Yeah. I would say keep your eyes open. That's what I'll say. You might be baffled.
All right, anything else for Demetrius? One more.
Yes. To maintain the weight that I want to stay at, which is that 220 range, and not try to get too heavier to where I can't move or can't run. Just something I've grown up on as a kid has been a lot of oatmeal. Yeah. Big oatmeal guy. I could thank my mom for that. But I would say a lot of oatmeal, definitely a lot more greens than usual. Cut out the fried food just because if I want to be 240, I'd go to Zaxby's real quick. But definitely a lot more greens and oatmeal and definitely more water, just keeping myself in shape and at that weight that I want to. So, yeah. I talked to a couple of the nutritionists about it, about how much oatmeal I can eat or how much is too much. So they tell me there's never really too much, just don't eat it repeatedly to where you overdo it. So try to set apart different times, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner I'll have some, and it'll last me throughout the day.
All right. Thanks, Demetrius.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ace. Anyone, Rob?
We talked at the ACC kickoff, and what's your aspiration for the team and so forth? What have you seen after the first 3 or 4 times?
The first 3 or 4 practices, just good energy coming out there. We got playmakers on both sides of the ball, and I see a lot of pieces just being put together. The puzzle get put together each and every day. We just keep stacking days, and at the end of it, I think we're gonna have a pretty good team.
How does it feel like in terms of just defense and obviously playing a big role in all of that now compared to the spring?
It's great responsibility. Just to get the defense lined up, I take pride in that. Just studying at night, remembering the calls and everything, and just really just taking pride in making sure everybody's on the same page and just getting everybody lined up.
Is there adjustment to the way you maybe call things out for guys, or like how you kind of interact in this defense versus other defensive players?
It's not really no difference or no special thing I do. I just try to be loud as possible and just try to over communicate. If anything, I try to err on the side of over communicating instead of under communicating.
Okay.
Why is this here, I guess, I know you're talking about just you guys come together and close together, hopefully it feels the same way.
Yeah.
But what besides you guys playing this position, why do you think you guys have connected so well?
I really don't know. Ever since I got here in January or so, me and Quez kind of just clicked. Like we all just clicked, started hanging out more and more, and then that's my guy, man. That's like my brother, all my brothers here and stuff, but me and Quez, we just clicked. I can't really tell you, just clicked.
Is anything you guys like to do together?
We watch film, do that, play the game. We got a long-going 2K and Madden streak going right now, and I'm up. If he tell you anything different, it's false. So, yeah, so that's about it. We just chill. I mean, we in the building all day together, and it's just good vibes. It's just good to be around.
It's kind of nice to have. I mean, it's good to have over anywhere to have someone you're playing with.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to be on the field. Like, but with all the guys on the defense, like I feel like I have a good relationship with all of them. When you're playing with your friend or somebody you like to hang out with, it tends to be better.
They changed some of the rules in terms of defense with pads and number of full pad practice and that kind of thing. How do you feel like that affects tackling? Is it something you're in favor of protecting your body more, or do you have a feeling about that?
I feel like it does protect your body for it, and I feel like the tackling aspect is just you got to focus more on the technique and those days when you're just in helmets and shorts, but we still doing tackling drills. You just have to lock in more on the technique and the body position and how your entry and everything, because like you said, it's not as many. So this camp, we probably won't get as many live reps as we normal camp does back in the past and everything. So you just have to focus more on the technique and just the little drills and stuff when we do tackling.
Rod?
Get Demetrius back that you didn't have in the spring. What does he have?
Demetrius, he just added athleticism to the group, explosiveness, just a great attitude to the group. He comes over, he's gonna play hard every snap, and Demetrius is a freak athlete, so he's gonna do something explosive, and he just adds more speed to the defense, and just another guy that's gonna give his all every snap and every game.
Anything else for Ace? Okay.
Chris Thacker was here, he was saying he has a goal to lead on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And what are some things that you do personally
Just to make it a conscious effort to take your shot on the ball. Everybody see when you punch the ball out, it's a big celebration, but realistically, before you get that one punch out, you probably tried 20 times before that to get a punch out. So it's just a conscious effort and a repeated muscle memory of just punching or trying to get the ball. You're always trying to get the ball, and that one time is going to come out, and you just got to keep just stacking and keep more repetition, and the more times you do it, more attempts, the better your chances. Huh?
keep attacking or
Keep attacking today. I don't know. I might have slipped up.
keep snacking?
I might have slipped up. I'm kind of hungry right now.
All right, well then, if there's nothing else, we're gonna let Ace go eat. So.
All right. Appreciate y'all.
Let me get a swig of water here real quick. All right, now we'll go ahead and open up for questions for Charlie. Rod?
Charlie, as everyone knows, you played a lot of different positions on the defense. Where you're playing now, is that where you feel you can make the best contribution?
Yes, sir. Based on the trust that me and Coach Thacker built throughout the years, I feel like he knows the best for players. Like sometimes players feel like they know the best, know what's best for themselves. But me and Coach Thacker have been through a lot of stuff, and I feel like he can coach me and get me to where I want to be.
Kelly?
Charlie, obviously you got the opposite problem the rest of us. You got trouble keeping weight on. How much did you change in the offseason? How's that battle going for you?
It's been a challenge for sure. I've been trying to eat a lot more at a time, but also just make sure I eat more throughout the day, different times throughout the day. I have set a schedule for myself so I can know when I need to eat, when I need to snack. I got a liter jug, so every time I eat, I try to drink one of those. So yeah, it's been a challenge, but I've been pushing through.
Where you at?
I'm not sure, to be honest. 'Cause we just got done practicing and sweating and stuff, Got when camp started, I was probably 210-ish.
What's your goal?
210 plus, 215, hopefully get there.
Another thing I said in practice early on, it seemed like you guys were doing kind of a communication drill where you're calling out things.
Yeah.
Is that any more? I'm sure you've always done things like that, but coaches put it more than fast.
I guess you could say that. We just don't want to. We just want to do our assignment and then make sure we're on the same page as a defense for the most part.
Okay, go ahead.
You're a senior, obviously, because of the COVID, you're potentially picking back. Is that
Yes, sir.
something you've given much thought to, or as something you think about?
I'm just trying to make this season the best season I can, and then we're gonna see.
Kelly?
You're the guy who's good at following the ball, finding the ball, in anticipation. He's playing linebacker, running side on the sideline as well. And it seemed like that was kind of missing some last year. Do you feel like that's kind of what you bring to the defense? Maybe that kind of X factor in terms of being a long linebacker?
Yeah, I can say that. I feel like I bring a lot of energy to the team. I feel like I bring just a sense of confidence I just feel like if I come out there knowing what I'm supposed to do and bring energy, encourage my teammates, and then they're going to feel like they can be confident in what they're doing. So, yeah.
How much does it help to have backs as a coach here, Jordan, Dante, those guys to cover? I imagine that it really gets you ready.
Yeah, especially in pass situations, one-on-one versus running back, we're definitely going to be able to do that to other running backs, and also just open field tackling. They're great running backs, so like it's hard. It's hard. So the more you practice it in practice, it's easier it's going to be in games.
I've learned next, Jameer, I guess, some weight. Is that something you noticed at all?
Yeah, he's freak. He's a freak, to be honest.
Like, can you tell like that he's like from last spring or last season?
Yeah.
A little more muscular.
Yes, sir. Dr. G, Dr. Girth, Coach Lou. So, yeah, he puts us through a lot of stuff, and we just continue to just push ourselves harder and harder. So a lot of credit to him.
When you guys practice in here, does it make a difference out of the way as opposed to being out on the road?
Nah, it doesn't make much of a difference, to be honest.
Rod?
You got some pretty stout defensive ends now. Is that going to help you with your blitz packages?
Yeah, for sure. They are, I mean, I wouldn't say they're learning, but we just all getting better together, and it just makes it makes it so much easier for me, like just cause, like the offensive line have to focus more on them instead of us, like trying to climb to us so fast. So it just makes it so much easier.
Anything else for Charlie? Charlie, appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.